Right, let's talk about granny shots.
Yeah. So you launched an ETF. I told you not to do it, but I only told you not to do it because I'm so protective of you. What I said was, oh shit, now he's going to have a quote unquote public track record that people are going to harass him about when the market goes down. But you didn't care. You're not afraid of what people think. And you plowed through and the thing was received pretty well. People
Dude,
are into it.
almost $1 billion in assets. And you kind of just launched it. It's incredible.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
All right. So let's for people that haven't heard your previous appearances here and are unaware of the concept here, these are stocks that you think are like layups, basically. And granny shot like shooting a free throw underhanded like Rick Barry.
Yeah, and you want to own it. You're not trading them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find essentially what's equivalent of like, like your idea of permanent stocks. But we do rotate it. But the reason we sort of have this idea is we have themes that like span multiple decades. Cybersecurity, millennials, AI, Fed cycles.
Okay, so your idea is that these are stocks that are enduring. The story behind them is bigger than the stock itself.
Yeah, they're linked to generational ideas.
Okay, I love that idea.
And but we only add a stock that appears in more than one theme. So you want to say like, hey, these are the stocks most linked to cybersecurity, but let's say that's 50 stocks. But then we want to say, is it linked to any of the other 6 themes? So it has to be appearing at least 2 themes because then we figured there's 2 legs to support why the stock
so
will
if
always
one
work.
story goes away, it's on there for a reason.
Yeah, it's anchored. Yeah.
Okay. Does that mean that you wouldn't own a stock like CrowdStrike, which is like purely in one theme?
Well, CrowdStrike is actually a granny shot.
AI and cybersecurity.
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're good, Josh.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a million questions. How many holdings?
There's 35 stocks.
Is that static? It will always be 35?
It's not a predetermined number, but has always ended up averaging around 35.
How close are you trying to get the initial position weighting to the other weightings? Are we trying to equal weight or not?
It's quarterly rebalanced to equal weight.
Okay.
And it would have done better, as you would know, if we never rebalanced, because NVIDIA has been part of the granny shots list since 2019.
But that's what you're telling people. I'm in hindsight, would you have done a semi-annual rather than a quarterly? Because you're going to throttle the best stocks, but
Yes,
you're
it
also
does
going to
throttle.
reduce volatility. So it's kind of a double-edged sword by rebalancing that frequently.
Yeah, and it ends up being under 100% annual turnover.
Okay.
So it's not like we're turning over the portfolio. And the ETF has the tax efficiency because no one's having to sit through capital gains through the rebalances. So that's advantageous.
Okay. So it's all right. So it's 35 names right now. They're roughly equal weighted, and then during the course of the quarter, they're going to move around, of course.
Yeah.
So, like for example, your top 10 names: Progressive, Apple, Abbott, Garmin, S&P Global, Bank of New York Mellon, Costco, Palo Alto, Microsoft, Netflix. So you have Mag 7 names in here, which makes sense. They probably addressed 5 themes.
Correct.
How does Progressive Corporation become the largest current weighting in the index?
Part of that is just performance since the rebalance for
Insurance
Progressive.
stocks are doing really well.
Yeah. And Progressive is actually linked to a seasonal theme. So it is linked to the
Like
PMIs.
The power of Christmas.
The PMI. So we look at like what is correlated to PMIs for this period. So that's like what we call a seasonal rotation.
Okay.
But Progressive is a millennial stock because, when you look at who, like, millennials will account for like 72% of all the growth in financial services spending.
Wow.
So companies that are innovative are going to do really well because millennials essentially buy their it's like a growth industry within financial services.
Okay. So Progressive is, of all the insurers, that's the one that best represents that theme.
Correct.
How do you decide that? How much of this is quantitative versus like somebody like really looking qualitatively at these companies?
It's both. So we have a quantitative process. It's called DQM. So it is actually, it's the quantitative
the Dairy
expression
Queen
of,
metrics. Sure.
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
of all the work I did at JP Morgan, we built a single quantitative model. And so
Okay.
that is what runs to improve the quality breakdown. And then we do have a technical view from Mark.
Okay.
And then we of course, look at the company, make sure it actually fits the theme. So it's a multi-step process.
Are there knockout factors? Like if one of these companies says, oh shit, we have to restate 3/4 worth of earnings.
Yeah.
Will you guys immediately get out of it so that there's like this quality?
Yeah. So in theory,
maintenance?
Supermicro,
Yeah.
in the research version of the Granny-Shots, it used to exist in it, and it was a very big performer. But then as soon as there was auditing and compliance, it couldn't qualify.
So you guys will get people out of those names immediately if
Well,
there's
yeah.
some sort of factor that is just like, we can't be in this while
Yeah.
that gets sorted out.
Now there was a drawdown with Supermicro. So, but it had already produced a lot of returns for the Granny list.
Okay.
But,
What
yes.
kind of feedback are you getting from the investors there's probably a lot of people that don't buy your research, but they're fans of yours because of you appear and you make commentary. So now people feel like they can like invest in some of your ideas.
Yeah.
What kind of feedback do you get from those people?
It's been very good feedback.
Wait till a bear market.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of hand-holding that's required.
As an ETF.
Huh.
Yes. And so what we
What
do,
do you do? Webinars?
I do a weekly video that is available to the public, but we have, I think, 35,000 people who signed up for the Granny Shots distribution list, which you can from the website, granyshots.com. And we push out a weekly video so they know what's happening in the holdings. And
That's what you should use AI for. You should not be forced to do that.
Yeah.
Weekly videos
Weekly.
a lot.
it is, but we found people say it really helps them understand what's happening with their money.
So it helps them hold the fund.
Yeah.
That's a really critical thing.
Yeah, so we're
is-
not hiding that there might be some, Palantir hit or NVIDIA hit, but then in their minds, they know that how to contextualize that, and it's not a mysterious.
You know what else is useful about that? In the process of talking about the fund, over time, people could get a better and better sense of how you think about the holdings themselves and the way that you invest.
Yeah.
Like not just the companies specifically, but like what would make you sell it? What would make, right? Or
Yeah.
what would make you keep a stock?
Yeah.
So that takes time for people to really learn.
Yeah. Like in the video we just released, we explained the whole idea of millennials and how much they're going to represent of like babies born in cars, and why if you did a similar generational bet with the boomers, you vastly outperform the market. So you want to find the stocks that are most tied to millennials right now.
Is this the start of a product suite?
Yes.
Who'd you put this out there? Is this Tidal?
Yes, we worked with Tidal.
Okay, so is Tidal calling you like every day? Hey Tom, your next $1 billion idea, please. Like we're ready. What do you got?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Tidal and many other providers have contacted us with
International
ideas.
Granny Shots?
I think international.
Can I give you a great name for it? Abuelita, right? Spanish for
Abuelita.
You don't hate it.
Small grannies,
Small little grannies,
young
Yeah.
grannies. Tom,
Smid grannies.
granny aristocrats. I don't-
Grandpa.
Grandpa shot.
돈 벌고 돈 벌려 돈 벌